Alert! 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 Demon in the vicinity! Alert! Alert! Demon in the vicinity! Oh my god! The demon! Beelzebub! Oh, Saint Nick! He's coming! Satan! Hail Satan! No. Let's not go there. Number one, let's not go to that approach. Because, well, at least for me, I've already read 2 series where a Satan character. I mean, it would make sense for this, but hey guys, what's up? Lucky Cheese 7 is here today to give you guys another Black Clover podcast. And I know some of you are probably wondering what happened last week. Like, there was, because a chapter came out and there wasn't a podcast. Well, and I explained this in my update video I did yesterday, but I was not dying per se, but it kind of felt like that. Basically, I was dealing with a bad cough and a migraine at the same time. So you can imagine what that could do to a guy, let alone for like a whole week. So even though I had like content planned for what was going to be going down for the channel, I decided, you know what, let me just use that week to just rest up, get my energy back, and then when I get better, I'll come back. And as of right now, I'm feeling better. The cough will, if it comes, it'll come and it'll go. So it has its weird effects on me, but right now I'm okay. Outside of that, it's kind of similar to the last podcast, the last time this happened, covering 2 chapters because I don't want to leave you guys behind. So we're going to be covering chapters 195 and 196. And by we, of course, you guys know I can't do this by myself. So I brought with me a special friend and a special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Greetings, everyone. It is I, Sparda3g. Yes, we were supposed to have a podcast, but unfortunately, due to the circumstance that Lucky Chi were having a problem with the coughing and whatnot, we couldn't do it. But I understand. I respect the decision because it's better to have a very formal podcast recording more so than just having, like somebody feeling not as best. And it's better to take care of your health more so than doing something like a podcast or anything else, because of course, health comes first. That's like the general rule for everybody. But yeah, we finally got our time to do the podcast, and boy, don't we have a lot of stuff to talk about right now. So
We certainly do.
yes, this is a good time to do this. Like she has said, we have a devil on the loose, and all right, we're gonna talk about this right about now.
But of course, like I said, we got to tackle 195 first, which we see real going like, are you kidding me? Sometimes like this isn't even close enough to satate my hatred for humans. And Charmy, of course, like I'm just getting started. Like continuing on from the last chapter, she's like, for the vitamins, for the minerals, for the dietary fiber. I'm like, dietary fiber? That's like it's funny.
Oh God.
It's like, this is insanity. And I mean, it's crazy. Just see what happens. While that fight's going down, she's like, Asta, you go on ahead. And he's like, Charmy, I'm going to beat the importance of food into this jerk's body. And I'm going to assume Mimosa's thing is like, you got to get hurrying on ahead. And Asta's like, all right, I'll leave this to you. Thank you. There were plenty of paths to take, but a bunch have been blocked off by the fiery fighting. But the one above is still open. So let's take that one. Sure. And then going from there, we cut over to Noelle and her dealing with Fauna. And I was like, oh shit, that's cool, we're getting Noelle. Which again sucks from last week because I was sick. But who cares? I'm here now. Fauna's like, it's too bad for you. No matter how hard you attack me, it's useless. And she's like, oh, it's about time for you to be reduced to ash as well. And then Noelle's thinking, man, if only Asta was here. No, not in that context. Oh, don't take it into that context. But she's like, man, if only his anti magic were here, it would be so helpful. And then a slash goes through. And at first, when I looked at this, I was like, huh. I'm like, did Noel just acquire a new ability? I mean, like, the Valkyrie dress was one thing, but Tabata, two power ups in one arc? That's. I mean, I'm not against it, but okay, cool. And then what do we find out? We find out the next Magic Emperor himself. Yeah, the joke's gonna still be going until we figure out who it's gonna be. Jack the Ripper shows up and he's like, I finally found you! A woman with body parts worthy of being ripped. Yeah, okay.
Oh
And
man.
I love Noel's reaction. She's like, why you of all people? And he's like, huh? You got a problem with me, little missy?
Yeah, it's funny because like she was saying like if only there was Asta's anti magic, if I could use that, and we would actually win this. And it's like you just see a sudden slash. It's like, oh, what a timing! Shoot, good stuff. Now you're look. Oh, never mind. That's Jack the Ripper. Why? No idea. So that's a very strange predicament. I mean, like that's something I would never thought I would see in terms of combo with Noel and Jack out of all
Yeah, I
things.
know. That was one of the
Usually
strangest things.
you'll get somebody that you already know that they already have a chemistry to begin with. So it's like nothing new. Kind of like, oh, let's just stick into the same bubble and make sure these characters never interact with the other character because I don't know. We give them no freedom. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of series does that for some reason. It's like I understand, like, okay, Asta doesn't have to interact everybody. Well, actually, he does. He's a protagonist, but more like Noel, for instance, like he does have to interact everybody, which I can understand. But it's always fun and amusing to see them interact with a different type of characters, like somebody you would never guess to see. So Jack the Ripper is definitely a brand new one, something that I would never ever thought of in my head. Like, it'd be cool.
I don't think
Noel
anybody
and
would have
Jack.
ever thought of like this particular combo because I was like,
Exactly. So it's
that's
just
awesome.
it's hilarious. It's like, wait, this is what's happening. Like, hell, I would have actually bought in with Yami, but it's Jack. And yeah, that means Yami is somewhere, not there, but
Yeah, I
somewhere,
was
whatever
gonna
he's at.
address that. Like, if Jack's already here, then Yami's got to be really close.
Right. But now I'm just questioning. Well, it depends. Hard to say because what the next chapter. But even if they unaware what's really happening right now, I am still curious how they're gonna take down Fauna if that is the initial plan right now. But I am looking forward to see how where more things come through with these two characters, with Noel and Jack. So we'll see what happens. It's just amusing chemistry though.
It's gonna be quite an interesting scenario that turns out when we do see that. But going off from there, like we see Mimosa, we see Asta, and we're like, this is David, and he's like, wait, who? He's a senior from the Golden Dawn. Is Mimosa explaining it? His body was possessed by an elf. I wonder who knocked him out. Like, someone decided to like just hit him behind the neck, like, and he passed out. So here's my guess: we haven't seen Nozel in a while. Could it be him? Because again, this dude like dipped like 4 or 5 chapters back, and he hasn't made an appearance since. Like,
That's true. Where do you go?
yeah, I don't know. It's weird. He just got knocked out like that. So you got Mimosa, and she's like, I can sense the faint remnants of mana still wafting in the air here, but it doesn't belong to human or elf either. So, and as soon as I heard that, I was like, not human or elf. Huh. That's interesting. What kind of mana is it? I should check the magic power guidepost again. And then she senses, and she's like, wait, this is beneath the most powerful mana presence. There's a pedestal like object, and the spaces are increasing. There's 3 elves and this mana. It's And then Ass is like, oh yeah, let's go. Wait for me. And we find out that was in the presence of the 3 elves, the three holy pillars, if you will. That's how I'm going to describe them. Lit, Rhea, and I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, but I'm gonna assume it's Loni or Lonnie, one of the two.
Which character? I gotta
L
look at the
O
Viz
N
version.
Lonne.
And according to Viz, translation is Ronne somehow.
Huh.
Ronnie? Yeah, I
Ronnie.
don't know.
Okay.
That's what the Viz says, so I'm just going by that. I mean,
That
maybe,
sounds easier, actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like, well, I don't believe it.
Well, like that.
It's like, we sent Otto and the others to go see you, but you turned the tables on them, defeated them, and came here. And then, of course, you have Rhea going like, but I'm glad you managed to arrive here safely. I am truly glad. And then Lit. This time, we will have your hand over the magic stone. You know, the one that Yuno's been carrying around since the beginning of the series. And then Ronnie, your voice is quiet as ever. I can never tell what you're saying, Ronnie. Well, okay, so he's not. That's more so on the other two, but hey. But this, at last, everything will come back. Both of our futures. And as he like just kind of thinks back, I'm Lit of the Clover Kingdom, and Lit smile. Light creation magic, light sort of judgment. And then, straight up using monozone spirit silent dancing. And Lit automatically is like, wait, what? He was able to dodge this many attacks every last one? And further stepping it up and just going, all right, monozone, spirit storm double. And with this whole thing going down, Rhea's like, in the time it took him to get here, both his power as an elf and as a human have grown. This boy, in terms of pure natural innate talent, he might even exceed Lit. Huh. What is that alluding to? Tabata, I wonder. I mean, I could just be looking into it, but what do you think, Sparta?
Well, he's sure gotten damn strong, that's for sure. I'm not sure what it amount to right now, but it is interesting to know how much it equal capability to say Lich just that's a pretty huge praise. But one begs the question, like, what's up with like Yuna's growth? Like, I understand he has the fourth leaf clover. I get that, but I mean, you gotta remember he was like, he was by the side of Asta back in the story in the beginning. So it's like, is there something that's amount to these? Because we don't know the origin for him and Asta at this moment. We only know like one is gifted, the other one is cursed. I'm not sure if you want to call him that for Asta, because no, not just not no magic, but he has a 5-leaf one, which is like questionable still. Like why he's the one that he beholds the grimoire now. But with it's a very unique situation since he has a 4-leaf clover, which is very rare according to many. So and the fact that he controls the elf reincarnation like that is like, damn, it's pretty good. But what's the
I feel
story
there's
behind
something
him? That he
more
has
behind that, though. That's what I'm feeling like it is.
right. But we still haven't learned much of him yet. We just know he's really this good. He's really this talented. It's not like one of those things that you always see in a lot of shonens. Like I'm just talented because, and he's being too overly cocky. He has a different trait, which is one of the better part of the series, especially
Yeah,
since chapter one. We're like, hey, I may be like gifted and all that stuff, but I still see Asta as my one and true rival, and I respect that. I always like this kind of chemistry. That being said, again, I don't know what's the situation or his story, his backstory with it doesn't seem like according to the next chapter there's anything we're gonna learn yet. At least from that character, well, we'll see soon.
yeah,
But I feel like there's gonna be more coming for Asta, mainly because of the whole grimoire that he's holding, but we'll see. It's definitely interesting that how much he has progressed and how much he has gotten to this level. But we'll definitely
definitely.
see soon.
Because I mean, even right now, like Ronnie's going in, and Yuno's like dodging everything. He's like, I wasn't able to detect him with my monozone. This isn't super speed. He just suddenly appeared there, and that's when he's like, wait, again? No, I'm the one that's been moved. There's a pebble in the position I was in a second ago. Is he able to forcefully swap the locations of any object he's touched once. And we can see in that panel that Ronnie has gotten his hands on the pendant, the magic stone that Yuno's always had around his neck. And he's like, wait a second, I don't give a damn about magic stones. And then that's what's triggering him, like, to what happened way back when him and Asta were kids against that one drunk guy. And I was like, huh, that's, I mean, we've always known about that with, kind of given their history, but to see, how much of an importance, holds that stone. I mean, yeah, again, like I said, it's been a thing that's been established since chapter one, but to get it back here as like a callback was pretty cool because he's like, "But that's mine. Give it back." And Rhea's like, "Nice, Ronnie. I was never able to beat you in a tag." And then Ronnie does something where he's like, "With this, you'll be able to be repaid for everything that's happened up until now. Isn't that right?" And he's like, "Oh, what? I can tell when someone is lying. Why are those words of yours just now a lie?" Rhea's like, "Wait, Ronnie?" And even Lit's like, Rhea? Who are you?" And like even Yuno's like, "This is getting very, very shaky. Like, what's going on?" And then we see this demonic looking smile. Yeah, that kind of leads into what happened in the next chapter, but that was strange because then we see Ronnie. I want to say he pierces. Yeah, actually, yeah, he does. He pierces Rhea through the stomach, and just having to laugh. And it's like, oh, did that shit just happen? Yeah, that happened. So, in terms of chapters, now when I did my chapter thoughts on Tumblr, I didn't think it was as crazy as 194 for obvious reasons, but then I thought about it a lot. I'm like, it's the first chapter of the volume, and it is supposed to set up a lot of things, and it served its purpose there. So, for that alone, I gave that chapter a great plus. But what about you, Sparta?
You're talking about the chapter 194, right?
No, 195. Like in terms of like how it ended.
One oh yeah, we're 195. Wow. So we're 196, yeah. So I'm losing track somehow. Even though one the milestone's about to happen in about a couple of chapters now, which is yeah, pretty interesting because we kind of predicted that something major will happen in 200, but in the meantime, in terms of 195, I thought it was pretty interesting because, like, I like the fact that we don't know the full extent with this whole Charmy thing, and they leave us with the narrative that this is a big reveal about her character being half human, half dwarf. The fact she has two side of the grimoire, which is very interesting. There's a lot of questions to be asked, but that's like a lore itself to be waited for next time. We don't know how the battle ended. It's not like a one shot thing. So it's more like, huh, that's interesting. So where that battle will go to, will Charming win off screen and not know what's the full extent? Or we would just wait for later on and maybe there would be a little different twist. In fact, because of the next chapter, 186, it seems like it could have a different suggestions in terms of like where we're going with these characters instead of like fighting them because hey, it's the ladder, the usual shonen thing that where it's like, oh, leave it from here, you go ahead and find the main boss, that kind of thing. Maybe we need a different twist. It's like, I don't think every battle are really concluded. Instead, they change a different direction and say, hey, I think we got a bigger problem that we are fighting for now. Maybe we should change the direction and do something differently because there's something drastic has happening in one of your area. I'm just saying. Want to team up, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So if that's the case, that's a great twist. But we'll see if that is the case because you got to remember we didn't see the conclusion, or maybe we did see the conclusion with the siblings from the couple of chapters ago. Now with this one, there's no conclusion. I don't know what's the full extent of it. Whether it's Charmy just beat him off screen and leave us wondering how much stronger she is, which we know she's damn strong, but
Oh yeah.
we don't know how powerful she really is. But with this revelation that's going to come up in the very next chapter, maybe the direction will actually be a very different twist, which Black Clover has been known for that. It's like it has this trope that twisted and actually becomes something different. Not exactly unique, but it's something that you thought you were following the same formula. Again, when we go to this whole pattern, it almost feels like one of those cases like, okay, there's one big baddie in the main thing, this lich location. We got to go there. As for everyone else, well, we're going to be separated. So we're going to find a ladder. We're pretty much climbing a ladder. We climb a ladder, then we meet up in this area. Once we meet up this area, that's where we fight to find the boss. Simple as that. It's better than just everybody keep lowering the count of the group. It's like, look, we got like 10 people. Oh, there's an enemy. You go, guys. You guys go ahead. That's 2 people deduction, and so on and so forth. It's better than that. The way how this is structured. Now again, because of the next recent major development, maybe there would be something different that just have like a good guys finally coming together and fight this grand foe. But we'll see what happens. But I do like the fact that you don't see the conclusion because again, it's either two different. It has 2 different narrative approach. Whether we're not going to see off screen defeat of Riley, Rila, excuse me, with Charming, because again, Charming, that big revelation was like huge.
It was.
So yeah, so either that's gonna be the case, or it'll be the case of like, we didn't defeat you, we kind of weakened, but I think we should start thinking about teaming up because the situation that's happening now is much worse than meets the eye. But again, that really depends soon enough. As for for the rest of the chapter, it could have just gone normally with being the top dog because he's really that strong. And he could have maybe have himself defeat all 3 of them, or at least 2 of them, leaving Patuli alive, and probably just run back to Lich's at. And then this crazy situation has just happened with Ronnie with with a eerie smile, and then one shot. Well, I can't say kill, but he definitely just one shot the hell out of. I can't pronounce his name. Raiha. Just like, oh shit, what just happened? Like
Yeah,
nobody's
that was the
like
big drop. I was like, what the hell?
like usually this type of twist will happen like if you're in the final boss, but I mean you could try to argue because they got the master, you got the guy who started this reincarnation, yeah, but we still didn't see Lich since Lich is in the other location, which begs the question, where is he right now with this new plot twist? But yeah, like again, this twist is really not out of nowhere as to say like, oh, this came out of nowhere like Kaguya style, but more like out of
No,
nowhere like,
it's not
oh
exactly
shit.
that.
I thought not like that. It's more like out of nowhere like Aizen style, like, oh shit.
That's a good
From Bleach,
comparison,
Aizen.
actually.
Yeah, because like Aizen, it was more like, huh. I thought we were done with this storyline. Oh, I thought Gin was the mastermind, but it wasn't. It's Aizen. It's that kind of way. So
And people thought he
yeah,
was
this
dead.
this was yeah. Everybody thought I thought he was dead too because he was too innocent for his own kind. And Gin can keep taking the spotlight of like, haha, I'm so suspicious. Look at me, smart, being sarcastic. My eyes are closed, aka don't believe. Always, it's that usual thing. Like if you open your eyes, the shit is serious and shit gets real kind of situation. So that's the character he portrayed. But then Aizen shows up and yeah.
You're just like,
So now we have
wait a minute, how?
yeah, so now we have this situation with somebody where we're gonna get to the next chapter that come out of nowhere and just destroyed Raha. I probably pronounced him wrong, honestly. So yeah, now we get to 196. So
Yeah,
yeah, this is very interesting. But go, you go on.
chapter 196, titled The Mastermind. Very fitting, actually, when I think about it in retrospect. But
Mm-hmm.
like, because that person betrayed us, we elves were destroyed by the humans. The humans, they were attacking us. But being that I'm able to discern all manners of lies, I knew good and well that they never betrayed us or any of the sort. But still, I didn't tell that to any of the others. I'm going to kill that. How dare you? I'm looking forward to when you disappear, just seeing, like, of course, like, some of the other elves that we've encountered. Because I didn't want to lessen in the slightest the burning desire for revenge against humans that they all had, I just had to see them again. No matter what I had to do, no matter what lies I had to tell, that is my lie. But what was the cost of that? A hole straight through my guts. And still, just who is this person that ripped that hole open? But I've been done in by the biggest liar of them all. When did Ronnie slip into our midst? And of course, we have Patoli, or you know, going like Rhea. I'm assuming it's Rhea or Raya, one of the two. What is the
Yeah, I
meaning
was
of
thinking that.
this, Ronnie? And he's like the dev, and as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh shit, we're getting insight on this. Like I was getting chills reading this part because he's like, the devil dwells within the 5-leaf clover. I recall it all. The day I used the bonds of the magic knights chosen by the 4-leaf clover Grimoire to give birth to the Grimoire of Despair. Holy shit! That then
It
he
remind me very much of Vettel. Vettel, I think that's how you say his name.
yeah,
despair. Yeah. So
that's what kind of reminded me of too. I was like,
hmm.
huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I remember that's where they got the influence from too. Like the whole like the elf and the resurrection thing is like, it's starting to tie in very well with this whole situation with between Lich, the elf, the Grimoire of Despair now, the 5-leaf clover, the demon, and it all comes to this very moment now.
Yeah, because now we got Ronnie like on in the center of the circle, where it of course is like where a ritual is about to begin. He's like, that which I should have acquired that day. At last I will have today. Just holding on to Yuno's magic stone. Like, here in this shadow palace that acts as the border between this world and the next. This magic stone shall summon forth that which I desire from hell itself. And because of this, Yuno's like, oh, what the fuck is going on? Like, wait, it's like some weird black ooze like jumping out from within. And then
Damn
Ronnie
it.
like, wait, what?
Now I was like, damn it. I was just shown to be so damn powerful. Why are you doing this to me? Like that's what Yuna's think. That's like what Yuna's think is like. Yeah, I'm the hot shit. No, what the hell's happening? You try to derail me? Well, I mean, that's not the case, but still, it's like,
That's
oh
pretty funny,
damn it!
actually. Does that account?
Oh damn it! I
Like,
had this good.
not
I
this
had this
shit.
running too.
It is. But yeah, then you got Ronnie like, oh, welcome back. Then this shit gets even more weirder because we have like this dark essence like coming out from Ronnie. He's like, I'm home. And like we've seen sweat, but not like this. Like, he's like, what is this? This pitch black cold mana. And even Lit's like, wait, it can't be. This mana is the devil. Whether or not it's Lucifer is yet to be determined. Or, as what someone likes to say on Tumblr, Ryuk.
Ryuk, of all things.
You're right.
Ryuk. Hey, yeah, let's go with that for now.
I know. I'm like, ah. I mean, it kind of fits more with Eden Zero's with Eden Zero's current arc with its antagonist in terms of appearances, but sure, let's go with that too. He's like, yeah. Although it's still incomplete, it's still the first body I've had in centuries, and it truly is a wonderful thing. And
I
again,
think that's worth to note.
that is worth to
I'm
note,
sorry.
actually. No, that is actually worth noting.
Incomplete. Yeah, it's like we're incomplete. So whatever happens whatever happens later on is like we're not really seeing the full extent. And if everybody's having this amount of trouble with this guy, that's very,
That's saying a
very
lot.
alarming.
Yeah.
Yeah, but But yeah, just say incomplete. That's like a first noted thing, like incomplete. So this sounds like
He
it could be it could get much worse in the future. We'll
here's
see
a
what
wild
happens.
prediction I'm gonna throw out here. What are
Okay.
the chances that this is the demon that the Wizard King defeated, like the very first one? Because he talks about like how it's his first body in centuries. So I'm like, is that what you're? I'm like, is it that particular demon, or is that too coincidental?
I mean, like the one thing that hasn't truly established at the mean in the meantime is like, okay, I don't want to jump ahead, but I guess I'll have to in order to get to my point across. But when you look at the very end of the chapter with Asta joining in, that's like it's begging for a lot of new questions or a lot of new answers, whatever how it's gonna take it. Because Asta has a demon inside. Is it related to this demon? Is it connected to the demons? Like, oh look, I got the other partial half or partial part of me, whatever.
The
But
five
it
pieces of
seems like it's
Exodia.
a
No, I'm not gonna go.
not like that. But then everybody's screwed because this devil is Exodia for evil. but
You're
what I'm
right.
saying is that what I'm saying what I'm saying is that these two are different. These two should be different in terms of demons. So maybe the case is like, hey, it could be a lot of different type of demons out there. And the fact that that demon that we saw from the chapter one was like way different compared to this one. Not just the design, but just the size as well. It's like shit. That thing and whatever it was at the very beginning of that chapter is huge as hell. It's like, of course, everybody joke around, kill me again in Naruto, but besides the point. The point was, is that demon supposed to be the exact same one as this one, or this demon is a different one altogether? And if it's a different one altogether, that means we're establishing that there is a lot of demons out there, which can be the possibilities because we are already
Oh yeah.
establishing a lot of different lore. You got the demons, you got the dwarf, you got the elf, you got the humans. We expect to see more in the future. Now, demon is always portrayed as the worst kind of clan. It's the worst one that you will ever have to encounter. The same thing that happens with seven deadly sins, even though the goddess is there. But again, the goddess is pretty much the kryptonite or the only savior. But we don't know if goddess things is gonna happen in this series, but time will tell. The point is, the story is that the demons are declared as the most scariest phenomenon that you will ever encounter. And now we're finally seeing it because yeah, we've seen Asta, but we only see partial of it. But we know how the grand scope that demon inside Asta is terrifying as hell. Everybody always noted that back in that arc with the Witch Force arc, where everybody was like, "Damn, this Asta appearance is very intimidating as hell." It's like something about him is different. Something about his appearance is
And Noel
different.
was
It's
the
like you
first
see
one that
his
pointed that out too. I remember.
exactly. So it's like, and the the witch queen, she pointed out like, this is what makes Asta special in the sense that he's not special at all. It's whatever he has that makes it different from a part of everyone else. And that of course the demon inside is very is a unique situation since you don't really get that more often. But yeah, the whole five leaf clover, the whole devil thing, again, it hasn't established exactly yet because we're slowly open up to many worlds of this story. Like we have established that dwarf did exist or does exist, most likely does exist, especially with Charmy is around, which begs the question: are they like where are they right now? It's probably in the Diamond Kingdom, which kind of suggested in the image. It's highly possible, but we'll see when that time comes. We haven't seen the other kingdoms yet. We know they evade Clover Kingdoms for tyranny, but we don't know like the extent of what's the attention behind them. So with the devil, it only adds more because not only we're going to open up more lore, especially with the next chapter. I'm pretty certain that we're going to learn a lot about the devil. I'm pretty certain that we're going
For
to learn a
certain.
lot about this whole connection with Asta, the five star, five leaf clover, the this devil, maybe even the devil back into chapter one going against the first Magic Emperor. But we'll see what happens. But I find this pretty damn interesting because again, we open up a lot of new lore, a lot of new potentials as Tabata has mentioned already. He can do a lot. He could put it into a lot more content so long he's give it okay. And if he gets the okay, he'll go all the way. He'll probably go as long as One Piece, but I doubt it. But he definitely could go for a very long time. It all depends really. But I do think getting a color page, getting a lot of focus, advertisement within the Shonen Jump. Not sure about the anime. I think it gets at some. Well, I know Crunchyroll has been doing it, but that's the U.S. market. But that's is helping. So there's that. Getting color page. The ranking has been really good, even if it's like editor in chief choice. But the fact is, it is in the front, so that's like a good sign. So there's a lot of good sign that tells us like, hey, the series is gonna probably be here for a while. So don't worry about anything. But again, forget about that for now. What we have here is like an interesting development that could go to a lot of new places. And I know like a lot of people like still trying to figure out how this works out. But again, we only know that this is demon that connects to this part of the story. We can't say there's only one. We can't say there's only one yet. We
There could be
can't say this
multiple.
is the end game. Yeah, it could be multiple. We don't know what could be the case. It's kind of like in a strange sense, it's in a strange comparison, it's like with the whole Marvel cinematic universe. It's like, I know Thanos is like the end game, no pun intended, but if that's the case, why there's more movie coming after, with Spider-Man Far From Home, supposedly Black Panther 2. If that's the case, so who's gonna take over Thanos? And that'll be the case for here. Who's gonna take over Lich, the demon, this demon particularly? What's gonna happen? We don't know. We really don't know. Right now, we just gonna go with the development that's thrown at us right now with this sudden appearance of a demon and a new explanation that's gonna give us in about like a couple of pages. So take it away from there.
So yeah, is continuing this one. Is like, what is this being? Like, oh, elf chosen by the grimoire of the Clover from you, and like we're seeing again, lit sweating, much like and I can taste the same depths of despair that lit had that day, which wow is saying a lot. Might I add? Because like, what do you mean? And then okay, you guys thought the dwarf thing was a big bombshell, which it was. I'm not taking that away. I was like, all right, Tabata, like 200 is gonna be something crazy, but the build up to it better be worth it. And I was like, all right, like the dwarves is cool. I love the dwarves. I love their inclusion. And then we get this, where he's like, the one who deceived the humans that day into destroying the elves was me. Because it's actually kind of funny when I think about it now, because that was the very first podcast we tackled, was the chapter right before Droid was about to disappear, and he gets that flashback about like the royals attacking the elves, and it's like, okay, that's kind of weird. But then we find out here, so no, I orchestrated the entire thing, manipulating the humans through their desire for magic power is such a simple thing. And then, of course, we get that panel, it's like, now the elves' magic will be ours. We can understand one another, saying the first Wizard King. And you put all your very lives on the line to carry out the exact vengeance I strung you along into. It was so amusing. It kind of reminded me of another series that tried to do this. Only this one's doing it better. And Sparta knows what I'm referring to when I'm saying that, but he's like,
Oh
you're all
boy.
such fools, every last one of you. Wait, well, go on with what you're saying?
Oh no, I should say, oh boy, because you mentioned about the scene is like similar to that series, but I was like, yeah, oh boy, here we go.
That no, yeah, I know. I didn't even think about that until I was like, huh, that's eerily familiar. But he's like, huh. And Lit straight up's like, oh, don't give me that crap. Again, the attack is going through, and the devil's like, return. Like, Like all of a sudden, he had like mirror force activated and said, "Nope, I'm deflecting all that shit back at you. Don't
Mirror
even
Force. That's one way to put it.
right."
Mirror Force or Magic Silencer if we're gonna talk about Yu-Gi-Oh. Oh, if they reverse their attack towards your opponent.
That's true,
I
actually. That's
hated it. I think that card is forbidden from the last time I was told. I was like, yeah, I don't blame you. That's broken as hell.
I
Like,
know.
oh, 5,000 attack point. All right, reverse. Like, wow, what an asshole.
It's like you got a monster that's like 9,800 attack points. Like finish him off with like magic. Someone's like, shit. You're screwed.
Yeah, exactly. Like, wow. And the worst part is that card is like the highest counter. So it's like you can't counter it unless you have another counter card that do a lot of damage to that card. Uh yeah.
You're
That
right.
card was pretty that card is broken.
It is. It's such a fu moment too. And you're like, I was just
Exactly.
about
Oh god.
good times.
Uh,
But jumps in, using Spirit's silent dancing, and he's like, "Hey, that body belongs to Captain Vengeance. I won't allow you to just do whatever you want with it." And of course, you got the demon like, "I want to deal with you later. I can hardly believe you'd suddenly just show up out of nowhere like this. But I can already tell well enough that you're despicable, disgusting scum. If crushing you will end everything, then I'll end this." And he uses monozone spirit storm. And again, this dude straight up using vacuum wall. Like before my power word magic, everything is meaningless. And was like, wait, oh shit, like why the hell is this magic so terrifying? Now that I become strong, I can tell all too well. And he already comes to the conclusion like, yeah, shit. There is no way I'm gonna take him down. Not like this. It's like as if I were alone, that is. And
dun dun dun.
as soon as he said that, I was like, oh. I kind of had a feeling as to who was gonna show up as we hear a loud scream. And then we see Asta, like just screaming, and he's like, "You're late, Asta," as usual. Okay, he didn't say that specifically, but you can tell that's kind of what he's saying. Like, late as
I
always,
have one
Asta.
more text bubble.
Yeah, right.
It's
It's
like
like
if I have one more text bubble, I would say that.
it's like the life or death battle begins with the color cover. Yeah.
That's one way to start off with epicness. Have a color page with it.
Holy shit, do I have a lot of questions. I mean, like the dwarves is one thing, like I said, but this takes the cake. And I remember when I was reading the chapter, and I got this when I was like, all right, you know what? I had to really sit down and think about it, kind of similar with the dwarves. And it makes a lot of sense. I know some people are like, oh no, it's the Kagi effect all over again. Dip, dip. No, we can't do this. I'm like, you do realize Kaguya showed up, like, literally in the last third of the series. Last third.
Seriously.
That
Oh boy.
that includes
That
being
guy.
referenced. That includes being referenced too.
You'd be like that one user who is like went out of his way to I felt like one of them, he created a brand new account in order to put the hate into everybody. I'm not saying that you can't have a different opinion. I don't mind that. It's not like, oh, how could you? No, get away from it. Despair, despair. It's not that I'm telling him that. But it is kind of hilarious that I'm seeing the exact same word. I'm like, you copy pasted. Wait a minute, that is you. So I find it hilarious that one user really wanted to insert the hate. And I'm like, I don't mind for opinion, but you're being aggressive to the point that you want everybody to have the exact same train of thought as yours, even when somebody's or not only just disagree, but actually pointing out their own 2 cents on why it's different from your opinion. And that's fine. It's not to say you're wrong. You could have a different opinion. Problem is, don't be too aggressive and to the point that everybody has to be enslaved to your thoughts. It's like, oh, how could you like this chapter? It's awful. You don't get anything. I'm like, okay, that last part was uncalled for.
Honestly.
So, but you know, to each their own, I guess. But it is kind of funny to see that same person in three different places. Like, wait a minute, it's the same guy. So I just find that funny to me. And you know, he come off as a guy as a like a very lonesome bystander where he'd be like the only guy that would hate the movie in the theater while everybody's applauding like they just saw an Oscar winning movie, like, oh my god, that was amazing. Hell, even one poll was like, look, everybody's voting for like perfect score. I mean, it's not a perfect score chapter, but it pretty much is to say that these people love the development, and he's the only one that voted one star. Like, oh, okay. So
Kind
he's
of like
definitely
after
alone in
Toy
this
Story
one.
3, I was like, really?
Yeah, it's like that. It's like you know, if we were to say everybody loves Toy Story, and then this person would come in and just be a jerk and just say, nope, not me. I mean, you know, you can have a different opinion, but from what I recall, the opinion sounds rather incredibly rubbish. But oh, whatever. My point is it's nothing wrong to have a different opinion.
Yeah.
But I guess we're gonna talk about this whole plot twist. So I don't know if you want to go first about this, or I mean, you was going ahead until I interrupted. Sorry for that.
No, it's all good. I was gonna just basically get my thoughts on the chapter. So I'm not gonna say it's a break the scale chapter, but it's definitely an amazing plus. And I mean, you could say it's kind of a little biased. I was like, I was kind of hoping we'd see a little bit of Noel, but still, it's a minor nitpick. I'm like, I was kind of hoping we'd see more of that, but it's not much. It's like a very, very pebble complaint on my end. Chapter was solid overall, but wow, like Tabata is like really like opening the door to what's to come for the series, and that amazes me. Like again, we have the inclusion of the dwarves. We've known demons existed. I mean, that's always been in the Southland since chapter one. But to finally get another demon outside of like Asta's grimoire being like the puppeteer behind everything, I honestly like. I don't really have any words to describe it. But what about you, Sparta? Like, what's your thoughts on it?
About the twist or the chapter itself?
Both.
Both. Okay, so let me start by the twist. This twist is not okay. See, I know some, well, couple of people compared it to Kaguya, and it's funny because the one person's like, "Look at that, put a Naruto." It's funny because one comment says like Black Clover pulling a Naruto better than Naruto. Basically, they referring to the Black Zetsu situation and the Kaguya thing.
Yep.
So yeah, I get that. I get the joke. It is hilarious, but I would say this. I would agree with them too, because here's the thing. Okay, I understand a lot of people still think Aizen is the best plot twist for shonen ever. Maybe I'm exaggerating there, but I know that's one of the things that is the most memorable. But in this case, for this one, I do believe it is leaning towards more of that, especially when we're gonna get more answers. We're definitely gonna get a lot of new answers in the upcoming chapters because again, the idea of this chapter is to give you the sense that there's the demon, the devil, as this translation has put it, this devil is now in part of the story, is part of the lore, which is already established in the first begin with. But now we're starting to see like their appearance, the acknowledgement of existence. Because again, back in the chapter one, we can only assume that the demons are no longer there, or at least locked up, and it could only be opened up if you do some forbidden magic, which this is considered a forbidden magic, the resurrection in the first place. I actually went back to the older chapter, and it has been hinting that this forbidden magic will only unlock something will unlock something bad with it. It's not going to unlock just like, hey, I got
That's
my
a very
brethren.
good point, actually. Because even I was looking at that too. I was like, huh, that's interesting.
Because Patoli was like influenced by the thought that the resurrection can do it, can bring everybody back. This is the way to get revenge on the humans. And you know, the way how it works is taking over the human's body. So it's not like a resurrection, like, oh, I got a brand new body. But instead, it's like, oh, I'm gonna take over that person's body and pretty much wipe his existence, which almost happened. It almost happened. I mean, it can still happen now because the situation is still going on, but it almost happened like 100%. So that sounds bad to begin with. It's like, well, shit, that sounds like a forbidden magic indeed. You're resurrected by taking over a person's body. That's messed up. Yeah, I mean, it would have been okay if you used the original body of yours, or just have a brand new, or just have a spawn a new body altogether, but it's still yours, and that's fine. But the fact that it takes over a person is like, wow, that's kind of messed up. Well, actually, that's not kind of. It is messed up. So again, I went back to the old chapter, and there's a lot of hints that the forbidden magic is going to involve with something demonic, which ends up being the case. Again, first chapter already acknowledged that there was a demon, or there is a demon. It's just locked up. We don't know where they at. Maybe they all gone, but now we know now they still exist, and they're just lurking elsewhere. They're just waiting for the time comes. So when they got resurrection, of course the resurrection comes with a price, and this is the price. You're pretty much giving yourself to the devil, and now the devil has awakened, because why not? You did the ritual, you did the resurrection, so you give them the opportunity to bring a new life to them. And now here's this one devil arc. We don't know if this devil is connected or is the exact same one as from the very first chapter. We don't know that yet. We only know that this is a devil that just happens to be damn powerful, and we'll see what Asta and Yuna will do from here. Maybe what other character would join in, we'll see. We don't even know what Lich is doing right now. We just know he's there. I don't know if you have a new opinion, or like, well, shit, even the devil is actually here. We're screwed. I don't know. I don't know what's his opinion. For all we know, he probably predicted this, because there's a lot of strange things that happened with Lich as well. I went back to the chapter before recording the podcast, especially the moment when he fought against Yuno and Asta. He's the one that presented a brand new sword, or the way how the ability the sword
he just
can
handed
do.
it to Asta like immediately after. I was like, that's interesting. The fact that he said to do that.
Exactly. And Riha was like, you just give him back? Like, he was shocked to see that he just gave him back. Oh, and he only said, like, well, I give him back because it's no longer mine. But like, okay. It felt fishy, but whatever. You're my best friend. You're like a brother to me, so let's go on. And that's the case. That is definitely the case in this chapter about Riha and Lich. But we'll get more on that later. So I go on back to the old chapter, and I'm wondering myself, like, everything seems very strange. The way how it's set up for Lich and Asta's grimoire. And I always remember that chapter where Asta has that convenient sword that would take out the resurrection people. And the guy always commented on like how convenient that he has that weapon. But something tells me Lich did that on purpose. Why? We don't know. Maybe he is aware the whole ritual thing will awaken the demon. Patuli is the only one that was just like very aggressive about it, because he wanted to see his brethren. He want revenge, and we all know that how that story. I mean, I even look back his flashbacks, his backstory. It started to line up really well, but again, we're gonna get more answers from the devil himself, and especially with Asta now joining in the battle. Again, this chapter was meant to show you like there's a new villain inbound. It's like a secret unlocked villain. It doesn't really replace everything yet. We don't know what's going to happen next, but it doesn't really take away too much of a build up, or too much of like the situation that we have been following the series. Again, when you look at Kaguya, my main problem, or a lot of main people problem, is that Kaguya was established within the exact same arc, which is very long, very aching, very drawn out, and mostly boring. But we're not going to comment more on that.
Series too, so that also didn't help.
Right. And when it only became relevant, quote unquote, when they talk about Kaguya for the very first time ever. So it's like, okay, this is new, even though the whole story has been saying many, many, many times. There's only Rikoto Senin and Jubi, the 10-tail beast. That was the entire story. Then we keep going back, and yeah, and let's not forget how they inserted his brother. Somehow, some way, he got a brother. I'm like, where was this in the scripture? Where was this in the lore?
It felt so tacked on.
Exactly. It's like, oh, it's tacked on because we had to connect with the whole brothers, bro team, bro man. I'm like, we already got enough just by seeing them. We don't need to know the parallels of them. We already got enough, but they wanted to do more. But anyway, my point about the Kaguya thing. See, the Kaguya thing, it ruins the narrative how it made Madara the main villain. Yeah, I know you could say, well, we got Obito, so that was ruined too. Hell, it was ruined back with Pain as well. But the thing is, Madara was the more sinister, was the more character that has been reflected to be the main guy.
And
And
he was
with
more foreshadowed throughout the story. That's the other thing.
exactly. So it's like it's fitting for him to be the final boss. It's fitting for him to be like the end all be all. Yeah, I know Sasuke is the real final boss in a sense, but my point is when it comes to like the the world saving situation, Madara was the case. Madara was the 100% bona fide villain. And he was portrayed like one, he acted like one, he was seen like one, he should be one. And instead, Black Zetsu just come out and just change the entire thing, all because we established just recently about Kaguya. And now we're supposed to know that there was a Kaguya in the first place. Instead of like just keep on the same realm of Rikoto Senin, the sixth path of Sage, whatever you call them, instead of keeping in that realm, we end up going back even further back that we don't even know we had. We don't even know we should care about. And apparently it's just thrown us in there and boom, we got that character come out of nowhere who not only doesn't have his mind of his own, which that's already a bad start, but the battle itself pretty much, I don't know, it was even much of a battle. It was more like, we got to regroup in order to do something against her. And there's just so many crazy ass pull. Is mind numbing. It's like, I'm not even going back there because I could count so many. What the hell just happened there? How does happen there? I mean, it doesn't even start with the whole sharing guns fiasco. That part is just incredibly
Toss an
what?
eye, toss an
It's
eye,
like,
toss an eye. Still remember that.
oh god.
Uh,
But see, there's a difference. You're again. Madara was painted as the main villain. He was painted as the final boss. He was painted as the end all be all in terms of world saving. I know Sasuke takes over, but that is a rivalry, and that's like the more of a future generation where we go from there. But with Madara, he was like, "Holy shit, this is the final boss. We gotta take care of him." But then you just throw them away, and the worst part is that's how he's defeated. It's like, wow, you defeated him by doing that. Okay. and it makes it worse and laughable that he somehow got a Tokyo Jetsu before he really died. It's like, okay. So in a sense, he technically got redeemed.
well,
Huh?
and even then, because I remember when Kishi said this back at the end of 2013, I thought he was joking when he said this because he was like, "Yeah, I don't really have a way how to defeat Madara." I'm like, hey, that's a joke. I'm pretty sure you have something. And now I'm like, huh, I should have took that to heart.
Hey, whatever he says, he really means it. And I guess that part he really meant it. And shit. I was hoping he was joking.
Right? My God. I was.
So with this so with this demon one, again, it's like the dwarf, but this one has a long coming, and this one has been building up to this moment. Like, it's not like to say like it's not. It wasn't trying to be like very in your face, like, "Are you sure we should do this? There's a demon ahead." It's like, there's a story. There's a demon. The story about the demon. Demon this, demon that. It's more like you put the pieces together. You started to see there's something odd about this whole ritual or resurrection to begin with. It started with the whole forbidden thing. Forbidden is always gonna amount something, well, more than just like, oh, I did a forbidden because I don't know. It sounds too good to be true. It's never 100% good.
And it's not like the
That's
demons were
that's
just introduced in this arc. That's always been an establishment within the series.
right. The demon has always been around since since the beginning, and Asta pretty much confirming the demon's still lurking somehow, some way. But again, we don't know how many demons there are. We don't know if it's just one guy. But seeing that Asta has one, that seems to say no. It's just that they're somewhere locked away. So that could only mean that they probably be as powerful and terrifying as they should be. Like it's kind of like the early days of the seven deadly sins. Only nowadays it's like yeah, yeah, pretty much equal to me. I mean, look at that, we're kicking your ass too, right? So, but that's showing it for you. But again, we're going going back in the baby steps status with Black Clover. Devils has been around. They have been like I would like they have been portrayed as like the scary threat. But now we're actually going to see ourselves for the first time, and it doesn't come from Asta because that's like partial. This one it's still partial because he did say it's incomplete, but this is 100% Devil himself. So now we're going to see how he fights, how this clansman works differently than the elf. Well, we can't say dwarf yet because we don't know what the full extent of dwarf, even though Charmy could be the culprit, but we know Charmy is powerful as hell, so there's that. But with the devil, we don't know how powerful it is. We're gonna find out now. And so far, it's start off pretty damn terrifying. Like he has a literal magic word bending. It's like whatever he says, it happens. It reminds me of Jujutsu Kaisen with this character. But there's a limit to him. But whatever he says, it happens. Only problem is if he says it something drastically, it
That's
will actually
true.
hurt him badly. Because I remember there was a character. I was like, oh, that's an interesting concept, but damn, that's scary that he cannot talk about anything else but random food names, whatever the hell works. But but that's how like the devil works. It's like, okay, shit, that's kind of scary. And it's not even anti-magic, which is actually more interesting. It's like, oh, okay. I was under the impression it's like an anti-magic thing, but not him. His is different, very scary. But maybe that's the idea. So where we go from here, I don't know. Again, a lot of possibilities. We haven't seen Lich, so we gotta see what's his comment on this behalf. We gotta see how this works out. But it opens a huge door for a lot of new lore because again, what Tabata has been doing has been introducing a different concept, has been introducing different themes, different characters, different race in a sense where now you could see that more of that could happen with other places or other story arcs. The dwarf, like we were only established that there was a demon, a human, an elf. We didn't know there was going to be much more after so. But now we know that there was a dwarf, or there is a dwarf. It's likely they're still hiding because in a way, we got to know where Charmy come from, unless it's going to remain secret forever. But I kind of doubt that. So, dwarf is one thing, and then we got the demons finally being introduced. Like we know they exist. We know we've seen them from Asta inside, but now we're going to see the demon himself outside in the surface, incomplete no less. But it only makes us terrified because if he's this strong, incomplete, if he gets defeated here by so many different characters, could you imagine how it's like if it's like even more characters, like if more demons out in the surface? It seems like it's basically the dragons from fairy tale in this world where the dragons are deemed way too powerful and way too scary. And that's then in a sense, I hope they keep us that way for a while. I mean, I know people will be scared about the power scale, but we don't know how that's gonna work out later on.
No,
We
yeah, we
just
don't.
know that's still early to tell. It's and of course in this series, the thing about this series that makes it great is that everybody's in the same wavelength. So it's like there'll be like very
Yeah,
few
like no
characters
one's
that will be
falling
left
behind.
behind. Right. It's not like, well, shit. These three characters are so damn powerful. We're kind of just in the background slacking off. Kind of suck. Kind of like downplayed, not utilized well. Oh well. It's just the way it is. But in this series, it's like everybody has their own meaningful source, meaningful support, offense, defense, support, medics, whatever. That's what makes the series great. Time will tell how this is going to reflect in the future timeline. But again, we're going baby steps. Right now, we just have a demon. We're gonna have to learn more about his intention. We gotta learn about maybe the connection between him, the first chapter, or even with Asta. Not Asta is there, and it seems like the demon's like, oh, very interesting. I've been waiting for him. Like he has the look of interest. So I don't know if he's
does. Yeah,
gonna
that's the last panel that we see in the chapter. So I was like, huh, that expression alone kind of got me like, okay, that's something. And to further your point on something, what do you think of the possibility of us finding out the secrets as to why the five-leaf clover chose Asta? Because that's something a lot of people have been talking about for a long time, and with the demon showing up now, I think we might be getting that answer soon.
Exactly. That's the idea of why the demon is here and why the Asta is showing up earlier than expected. Because we're gonna see a lot more revelation. It's gonna be like, oh my goodness. Again, we just got Charmy. Charmy was like a big holy crap, but in a great way, because it has been building up subtly. Like we don't know about the dwarf thing, but we do know she was really powerful. We do know there's something unique about her and the wolf now, no longer the sheep, just is actually a wolf. And there's still some questionable things, but again, this is open up for the future path. It's like the Hitman Reborn, as I mentioned before. You got this character who went 25 years into the future, or 15 years in the future, I forgot how many years, and it hinted subtly that something bad happened in the future. And then the following arc, boom, we get to the future arc, and then you get your answer on what that eerie tone of his word about, like, it's been so long seeing you guys. I really miss you guys. Well, he didn't say it like that, but it's been the fact he said it's been so long, it suggests, it highly suggests that they all die, which they end up dead in the future, that is. So with Charming, it's like, what is your backstory about that? And she didn't even know she was a dwarf. It's like, what? I am?
He's like, wait, what?
So it's like,
You're a wolf and you can talk? What kind of bullshit?
yeah. Yeah. And she was like, she was like, she's trying to comprehend everything. But then she's like, well, first thing first, we gotta take out this guy. So I guess I'll ask those questions another time for her ask. Who knows? But she probably don't give a shit. But point is, that opens door for a lot of new possibilities for the future arcs. Like, hey, maybe the next arc, or maybe the arc after that, we'll have like the exploration of the other places, and boom, dwarves, there is dwarf, and holy shit, Charmy is related to that guy, or whatever. I don't know, something. I'm just giving you the possibility of how much doors has been opened up for a lot of new ground of story. Like again, a lot of people probably thinking themselves, "Hey, this is the end game." And yeah, I get
And
it. It has that tone.
that's heavily debunked now. Like with what we've been getting in the arc so far.
Exactly. It's like it's getting debunked because we still have a lot of kingdoms to explore. We still have a lot of kingdoms to deal with. They still need a new magic emperor, which they don't
No
even know
one
that
knows
he's
about
dead.
that yet. No one knows about Julius's death aside from Yami and a couple other individuals. But yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
so that's like that part itself is like a new mini story arc right there. Like, all right, who's going to be the new Magic Emperor if it even goes through that? But we'll see what happens. But we still have that in mind as well. All they need to do right now is to save the Clover Kingdom from the elf, which now they got to save him from the demon. So it's like, oh shit, we got two bad situations.
Yeah,
But again,
right.
we don't know if the demon is like the official boss. He could be like a Kuma from from Street Fighter. He's like, oh, he's a secret boss, but he just disappeared. I guess that'll be another time. Well, back to the boss with M Bison. You know, maybe M Bison will still remain to be Lich. We don't know how the follow up goes. All we know is that there's a demon. It was expected from many. Like it was like the timing wasn't expected, but the fact that it relates to the demon is expected because all these little details and it really connects to the demon. It all comes from him, like the forbidden magic, the way how it's like how in the world the royal family, well, same thing, noble
Like yeah,
family,
like how the royals were able to get to a point where they betrayed the elves and wanted the magic power. Because I remember we, like you and I were both like, this was very strange considering how Lit was friends with like the first Wizard King, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, let's just go after there's something fishy about that whole thing, and then just getting that revelation that's like, oh cool, we got an answer, but that's just raising more questions for us, where we're like, okay, there's something for sure.
Exactly. Just wait up for the next chapter or next couple of chapters to find out if this is like your fitting of a plot twist. For me, I think this really shake up in a really good way because it expands everything. It starts to expand a lot of his lore, which that was one thing that is interest a lot of fans of the series. Like I like the world building here. You know, my old gripe back then was like you never you don't have that much time to explore it because it's like, hey, water temple, and then we go straight to the game. We're like, damn it, I want to explore the city. Kind of like you don't need to take too much time like One Piece does, but One Piece always feels like a brand
Yeah,
new story.
that's true. That's a good point,
Yeah,
actually.
but it's like I kind of want to be like One Piece, but not too long, not too draggy. But you know, everybody has their own style, and I respect that style for Black Clover. So even so, like the world building itself is interesting to me, and now we're getting a lot more with the whole other race existence, as well as like how like the whole was the like the more story between the elf and the human, how it all come crashing down. Now it's starting to add up more and more, and I'm interested to see what the demon thinks of the five star
5 star,
5 leaf
the
clover
5 star Dragon
5 leaf
Ball.
clover the 5 leaf clover from Asta. Now Asta is joining in to see if he has any comment, and if he doesn't have any comment, maybe it would take Asta to do some action or use that demon form of his, and it's bound to some. It's going to it's
Who's to
bound to
say?
have something.
Who's to say the demon from Ass's Grimoire doesn't make an appearance with?
But then that's one way to hide it.
You're right.
But it would kind of suck if it'd be like, okay, Asta never used a demon and the demon dies. The devil himself just dies. Okay. They never interact though. So what's the story?
You're right.
Nothing? All right. Well, that was a good filler, kind of.
No way.
But then again, that's how I felt with Kaguya. So
Oh,
there you go. One
that's
last
valid.
connection to Kaguya. One last connection with Kaguya, because my God, that's still
He was like, he was like, I will do this. I am Marucci, and then Black Zetsu's like, no, I am not you. I'm like, wait, what? What?
like somebody has said, it would have been interesting if Black Zetsu would have said, like, I vow to Ochimaru. I actually found that would have been a hell of a twist. Like, oh, that's what he meant. Damn,
What
Ochimaru, sneaky
a
son of a bitch. That would have been awesome, actually. But nope, some new character that we just found out just now. Okay, cool.
man. Wasted potentials from Naruto. Never gonna let it
Mm,
die, guys. Never gonna let it die. It's the
yeah.
honest truth. Just saying.
So my comment on the chapter, I thought it was pretty interesting. I thought it was really interesting. I really like in the setup. I like the very first page. That very first page was very tragic to me
It
because
was.
again, I went back to the old chapter. I went back to the old chapter, and it's funny how Riha was always established as the liar. Like, that's so you. You like to lie things. Like, yep, that's me. I'm the biggest liar. So it's like stuff like that. And it's this very page. It's like, okay, all this time he knew about it. He knew that humans are more innocent and it's something that just happened, something that persuaded them to do this act. He knew all this time. He knew this resurrection would be a good idea, even the only way to make it work is like they will have vengeance, they will have hatred, and it does work because everybody will always seen like, oh, screw the humans, screw everybody. The elf deserve, elf life matters, I guess. But he wanted to let it go and let the whole thing plays out because he wants to see them again. He wants to see his brethren. He wants to see Lich again. He really cherished them. So it's rather tragic that he would go out of his way and not to tell Patolia about the whole real reason why the human has killed him. It's not like, haha, I lie. Me, the first emperor, I lie to you. I always hated you, elf. So I'm going to influence the noble family and just try to kill everybody and take your mana with them. Ha ha ha. It was never like that. It was more like, see, there was an actual trust. There was an actual, promise that the guy has. He just thought he broke them because, look what happened. But Rayhard knows that was not the case. It has to be something else. But he didn't say anything because if he didn't say anything, if he were to say something, it was like, listen, something happened. It's not the human's fault. Yeah, the first emperor, he was really cool. He was a great guy. So I think we should just, not do this resurrection. He probably will not do resurrection, but that's the problem. He won't do the resurrection. If he doesn't do it, he won't see his brethren again. That's why you see those three panels of like those people are like with deep desire of hatred. Because like, yeah, the consequences is like these guys are going to be very evil. These guys are going to be cruel because they are so consumed by dark power, by darkness. So even that's the case, he just want to see them. That's his lie. His lie is just that he could have prevented this completely. He knew about the
He
whole
really could.
backstory about her. He knew everything about her, but he didn't want to say it because if he say it, there will not be any resurrection. There will not be this arc. There will not be this entire story to begin with. But he wants to make it happen because he wanted to see them again. And I thought that was pretty damn tragic. I was like, shit. No wonder I look at the backstory. No wonder all the past chapters where they had a flashback of him and he was wondering like if he's having a dream. It's more like, this is what he really loved. This is what he really wanted to see again. And I was like, I feel bad for this guy. But damn, he should never lie to that. If he didn't lie, well,
He
the
wouldn't end
story
up
would
in the
never
situation
happen.
he's in right now.
Right. Now he just got a gaping hole. That's to say, like, well, this is your consequences. You should pay the price. You pay the devil's price. But again,
Literally.
I find it to, yeah. But again, I find this to be like a very tragic story. I don't know he's dead. I don't think he's dead, but it sucks that this is what it comes down to. The whole demon aspect, again, I thought I like the design a lot, especially his smile, as you could say. I thought it was more demonic than it needed to be because like usually I'm used to like, okay, you get the black eyes, but the teeth part being black darkened, I thought that's a really nice touch because it's like, damn, it feels really demonic. Shit, I got intimidated by looking at his appearance. It's like, holy crap.
When he's
Like,
like completely
damn.
silhouetted out, like it adds the creep factor to it. I was like, I love his design, like when you first see him, but when you see like him like all silhouetted out, I was like,
Yeah,
whoa, holy shit.
exactly. So I find the design pretty damn cool. I like the design. The reveal, it makes sense. It started to add up a lot of things. Patuli, it sucks for him because like all this time he could have kept the bridge tie or something. He could have kept it normal between the human and elf, but because he was been because of the fact that he never was told that the influence came from the devil himself. It started from the devil himself rather than it came from like the first magic emperor saying like, hey, look, I made a promise. Well, guess what? I lied. That was a lie. Ha ha ha. It was never a lie. It was more like the trust. The trust was never broken. It was never broken. It could have been there. It could have remained there, even if even if the clan was wiped away. You survive. He survived. Well, not you survived because he was awakened within William. But point is, it's like they could have been like it could have remained as like a very tragic story that the elf was killed by the noble family. I mean, like, yeah, that sounds pretty brutal. But you coming back to life and then kind of make yourself like 100% evil to many people's eyes, except for like very few. Because that's the understood that the elves is not 100% evil because of course he just fought two like a family members just recently. Well, not that recent, but that was the last battle before going to the shadow palace.
Yeah,
So
like
at
literally
least he
right before
understood.
getting to where we are right now.
Right. So we understood that the elf is not 100% evil. It's just they're just so hell bent on vengeance and wanted to have a second chance at living because they were taken away by the humans. But now they're establishing that the humans is not really that bad, which has already been established beforehand. Even problem is, it's the influence, and Patuli didn't know that the demon was the one behind him. He was the one that told them, "Hey, look, they got a great mana." Or maybe he also told them, "Hey, look, the elf are actually pretty bad. I think you should try to kill them." Yeah, we should kill them because that's how they come across. When you look at that flashback, like, "Hey, we got the magic power. Holy crap. It really is true. Well, we're going to get more of those magic. And while we're at it, we're going to kill them. Kill those rays." Same thing with that princess. She ain't human. Who says she's a human anymore? Everything has been like one tragic riot after another. It's like shit. Now you know the story. Now you know what's really happened, and you just pretty much burn all that bridge into great ash, if it can even happen. But point is like it could have prevented. Everything could have been prevented from resurrection to hatred, to gain a hatred, to have a war. Hell, it makes it even worse that he killed Julius out of things that came from the devil himself. It's like, wow, everything just went to like a very
Like it
dark path.
literally went to hell.
Yeah, it's like now you're seeing like the real price. It's not the price of you being resurrected, everybody being resurrected, and everybody be back together like a family. Instead, you're only playing to the hand of the demon. And here we are. And then we got asked at the end with Yuno again, which should be a fun combo once more. But I'm more interested to see what's the connection with the demon and Asta's grimoire because I'm expecting a lot of revelation. And this is
For sure.
196. This is 196. We got like 197, 98, 99,
Four
four
chapters, I
chapters
think.
before
Yeah.
hitting the milestone. So I don't know what the 200 will be, but I really am expecting a huge a huge chapter. It could
Yeah.
be a color
I mean,
page.
yeah, that's one thing I can say. I've definitely been expecting a huge chapter when it comes to 200. I mean, if we get the revelation of like what's behind Asta's grimoire, then wow, I'm gonna be very, very curious as to what Tabata's gonna have set up for 200. Then that's my thing. Who knows? Maybe the 200th chapter now could be like that the Clover Kingdom is in chaos and like the demon like goes off somewhere. I don't know. Could be that. Could be that kind of twist.
Yeah, it could be. So overall, highly anticipated for the next chapter. Definitely a really interesting chapter. I already said my piece on why I don't feel the exact same way with the whole Kaguya mumbo jumbo. Get my point.
And I can
And
definitely second that opinion too. Because
yeah,
yeah,
the
that
whole Kaguya.
that was something.
Oh god, Kaguya.
Trip down memory lane, guys. Trip down memory lane. Not the good kind of memory lane either.
One that you wanted to erase.
Yes. And filler flashbacks don't count. Just saying. But other than that, I mean, I feel like we've pretty much tackled everything. Unless we're missing something for what's been covered in the chapters themselves.
I think that's it.
So, other than that, you guys, that's pretty much it for the most part when it comes to Black Clover. Sparta, it was really great having you on board again for another Black Clover podcast, especially after coming off from last week with me being sick.
Yeah, no, it was great. It's great that not only your health condition has gotten much better than last time, but it was great to also to discuss about more of Black Clover, especially at this time around, where it's like getting really interesting, and there's a lot of new answers and maybe even questions about to come through. But so yeah, it was great to have you invited me for another podcast of Black Clover. Hopefully, you'll be in 100% perfect condition for the next upcoming chapters because I can expect a lot of great things to come.
Hopefully, that's what it comes down to next week. And man, I cannot wait to see what we're gonna delve into when those chapters come out, especially since we're getting the cover page. That's gonna be pretty interesting to see. But for the time being, you guys, that is pretty much it. I'm Lucky7,
Sparda3g.
and we will catch you guys next time. Watch out for the devil.